Yo, 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 what's popping? You kicking it with the coldest podcast in the world. I'm your co-host, B Jones, aka Bolo. And you know when I'm pulling up to the porch, I can't pull up without my dog.
Yes, sir. It's your boy D Nail, aka Big Smitty, aka D Nice. And where we at again, Bolo?
You already know we in the place to be. So go ahead and grab you a friend, grab you a drink, because this is the porch.
Porch.
Started on the porch, that was where it all began. Had to put in work, every day we got it in. We chased all our dreams and now they can't believe it. We make it look easy, we achieving everything we need. Now we undefeated. If we link, no, it's only business. If we get to speak and leave them speechless. I did things for free, but now it costs to see me. When you see me, you ain't gotta greet me. Just don't plot to sneak me. I'ma see it, I'ma stop and watch you lose and get defeated.
Hey,
What's up, my guy? How you doing?
Man, blessed and highly favored, man. Another day that I can touch ground, bro. It's just another blessing, man. How about yourself?
The same here, but you come on the porch preaching. I love it.
Hey, look, I'm feeling it. Look, I felt it when I came downstairs. I'm like, I feel it in my spirit. So it's just talking, you know, and we got a special guest on. So it's only right.
Very special guest, right, man. And this is a first for the porch. We've never had a champion, a world champion on the porch.
Of the world, though.
Not just the city, Craig.
The world, Craig.
So I'm gonna go here. We got to go here without further ado. We have one of the best boxers in the game with an 11-1 record. She has knockout power in her left and her right. Originally from Fremont, Ohio, fighting out of Detroit, in the new WBC IBO Super Featherweight Champion of the World, Alycia the Baumgardner. How you doing?
Okay, I'm doing great. Doing great, feeling amazing, blessed. Just, happy to be here.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, welcome. We definitely are very happy to have you. And I know our fans and our listeners is definitely going to be in for a treat. So
sweet.
For sure. Well, let's get straight to it, Alycia. Man, obviously, I know you're probably still sitting on a high. These last few weeks, I'm assuming it's probably been crazy. How is, I guess, things been different? How are you feeling since you've you've been the Super Featherweight Champion of the world?
Yeah, things have just been moving along, just a little more busier. I knew that becoming a world champion was going to require a lot of my attention. And I love it, though. I love being able to go to the different fights and just be in the boxing atmosphere and just really just keep showing, the boxing world and just the world period that, who Alycia is and why women are just killing it in the game right now. So it's a blessing.
No, I love it, man. So tell me that, like, how did you feel when you first heard "In the New"? Like, I'm just trying to put myself into your body and being in that moment, and like hearing those words after all the hard work, the sweat and tears. I know you've been through injuries, and we'll talk about that as we go. To be in that moment, to hear those words, like, describe that feeling to us.
That feeling is like, is just top tier. It's like I tell people when women have babies, like, you remember that moment, like winning a world champion, you remember that moment. And honestly, when I hit her in the fourth round and I knew she was slept on her feet, I just told I did it. Like right there, I told myself and the new. And man, that feeling was amazing. Like I felt like such a relief. You work so hard to get to that point, day after day, grind after grind. And so like, it was just a big release, like, man, like a big breath, like, man, I did it, like world champion.
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned, man, why did you hit Terry so damn hard? I was doing
straight
my
leg, though. She had the straight legs.
Straight leg hitter. And I haven't seen someone get, like, she was stuck in the air.
Stuck.
Nah,
like,
she was stuck.
If you would have really came in, like the ref didn't jump in, it could have got.
You was about to hook her. You was about to get her again.
No, she was about to be on the canvas though. That's what's gonna happen. But for me, it is I don't know how to hit soft. So everything is thrown with intent. And that's just how it played out.
Would you say you're the hardest hitter in your class, in your weight class?
Yeah, I definitely say I'm the hardest hitting women's boxer at 130.
I love
for
it.
Sure.
Nice. So I'm excited just because I don't know any boxers. Like, I don't have any friends that are boxers, and I don't know any professionals that's boxers. So I'm just gonna pick your brain on a lot of things that I've been sitting on probably since I was 12 years old, just about just professional boxing, right? But one of the things that is more prevalent now is just social media, right? So you got a lot of non-boxers getting into boxing. You got a lot of people transitioning from, MMA and things like that. So a couple questions surrounding that, I guess. Does it take away from the sport that people who are, I guess, quote unquote, non-professional boxers stepping into the ring? Does that take away from the sport, or does it add to maybe the visibility to the sport?
I would say, there's a balance between the, both, but I think it takes away it's really the respect that I look at. It kind of takes away the respect that boxers actually work hard for, to have those great paydays, to get on TV. It's kind of like, just kind of disrespectful, because you have YouTubers coming up who can just get $1 million payday, and it's like, damn, for the ones working just to get on TV or just to get a good payday, it's like, damn, we really working our ass off,
right?
And like, you look at these people, but again, with those people having those platforms, make sure you put the boxers on, make sure you're showing love to them, because again, to do that, you got to respect the sport and respect the fighters who actually fighting. That's how I look at it.
And I'm right with you with that. I'm 100% giving the same. It's like you gotta pay homage to the people who live and breathe it, right? And I'm not saying that those social media influencers are people who want to be boxers. I mean, you're practicing the craft. You're a boxer, but people who come in to do it like you've been doing it since you were 8 years old. You live and breathe that sport. So you want that respect. You want that just doing, for people to just not really have a name in boxing, come in and throw their name on a pay-per-view channel, and they're getting paid all this money. It's kind of like they're putting themselves in front of everybody who's really been putting the boots on the ground to make a name for themselves. So I totally understand that there. So along with MMA, right? So I see a lot of people trying MMA and fighting in the ring. I guess, has that ever been a thought for you to either maybe get in the Pentagon or fight somebody from the Pentagon in the ring?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to fighting in the octagon or doing MMA. I do have a wrestling background, and I'm an athlete. I'm a competitive athlete, so I just like the thrill. I like the rush of just competing and really just challenging myself as an athlete. So I definitely see myself doing it or trying it out, at least.
Absolutely. I definitely can. I think like you said, you wrestle and you box. I think those things correlate well in MMA, right? Especially with the jab, with the hook, that right. You hear anybody in any type of MMA, street fight, whatever, they going down. So
now you gotta think about it too. She's hitting that hard with the boxing gloves.
With the gloves, yeah.
You got MMA boys. You might kill somebody in that ring.
Listen, that junk be crucial. Even with the 8-ounce gloves on, when I put them on, I'm like, this shit should be illegal, because they're so small, and you really trying to bang it out in there, but it's part of the sport.
I got a random question real quick, Bolo, now that you just mentioned that. So I don't know if this is true or not, but like, let's say hypothetically, right? Let's say you got into it with somebody like a regular person just out in the world. Do boxers or just professional fighters, is it like against the law for y'all to actually
That's a good question.
Fight like a regular person because y'all are actually trained?
Like, is your hands licensed? I thought like
I've always heard that rumor.
Technically, your hands are licensed, but we also can claim self-defense too when people be trying to, people really be pressing fighters buttons. You know what I'm saying? So there got to be some type of defense there in a sense. But trust me, your hands are definitely licensed.
Ain't nothing like somebody bumping against you in the club and you jump in your bag. It's over with.
Listen, I'm
trying to go to the club with you then.
Right.
Great.
I'm with the bomb. We good. All right. You jump back in, Bolo. My fault. I just wanted to ask
no, you good. So talk about the training, right? So you're an athlete. One thing about training, I know it's hard, and I have a great amount admiration for just seeing like Floyd Mayweather, like when they just kind of show how he's running 13-14 miles, and you see movies like Rocky and how hard they work, and I really think that's true. I really think fighters, boxers usually train the hardest out of all sports. I guess, how do you on average week, month prepare for a fight?
Yeah. So, when we're getting, once we got our fight date, we get into training camp, and camp could go for 2 months. And, with the preparation time, it can be cut down. So like, for instance, I'm already close to weight. So a lot of fighters have to have a longer camp because they're losing weight. I don't have to worry about that. So I could really do like a month and a half training camp.
Gotcha.
But we train at least 3 times a day, or we go from 2 days to 3 days. Train for at least a good, go for a morning run at like 5:30, do a distance run. Next morning we'd do a sprint, get in the gym, do a 3.5 hour workout, 4 hours, go home, rest, go do some swimming, come back, rest, go to sleep, and do it all over again every day till it's time to fight. So it's pretty.
I
pretty
thought football
intense.
was hard. I thought football workouts was tough, but now I feel like I'm soft compared to what you're talking about.
Boxing, it requires so much, man. Like, it's just, again, if you're losing weight, you got to focus on that. You got to focus on, just preparing your body and your mind, and, who you're fighting against. Like, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of mental work that's put in as well. Mm-hmm.
Do you guys watch film a lot of the person who you're fighting, or is it more so just I'm focusing on me? Like, how does that balance?
That's my trainer's job to watch, my opponent and to see what their perks are. And then, we just adjust from there. So me personally, I might look at a few seconds and be like, okay, go, I got it. Like, but that's all I really need. But I don't really study because I know what I have to do. So I put more attention and energy towards what I have to do.
Got you. That makes a lot of sense. I'm just, me and Bolo, we were teammates in college, played football. And, with football, it's such a team sport, obviously, right?
Right.
So much scheme behind it, so much like, what did they do last week? And, remembering what they did and what formation means what. So film is a large part of our like prep week as we're preparing for the game. So just was curious of how that was the same for boxing. But I guess it makes sense. If you're fighting, it's like, at the end of the day, it's cool to know some things of your opponent, obviously. But we fight at the end of the day. So I got to come out there. I got to do me. And so it makes
sometimes for me, my opinion is, when you kind of focus too much on somebody else, like you start thinking how they're thinking or how they're moving. I don't want to think about how this girl gonna move in my head, because I gotta know just the basic, like if she move that way, I'm instantly gonna move that way because I'm making an adjustment at that moment. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna put too much energy, like, know this person from A to Z. I'm not doing that. Right.
And usually, and that's a good point. And I think that translates to all sports. Yeah. People who overthink or, kind of think too much usually are the ones who make the mistake, right? Because they're assuming someone's going to be in a position and they may not be in a position. In football, that's when you get beat deep, or, that's when, you make a huge mistake in anything. So that's a gem right there. I think it's important to just focus on yourself and focus on, the things that you need to improve on and work on throughout the fight, the match, the football game, or whatever.
Trust the process, trust the work that you put in. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. And that's all, when it comes down to fight time, it's like, okay, training camp's the hard part. Having fun in the ring is when fight time comes. So it's like, do what you do, because you already know what you're doing. You know what I mean? So it's just making the adjustment and having fun. So
100%.
So I got a question for you. So obviously boxers don't have matches every week like football or basketball games are every day, and baseball and things like that. So you guys really, are crafting for, that one opportunity, right? Because you may not get another one till 3-4 months, maybe even a year. I guess on average, right? If, someone who has some boxing skills were to just say, hey, I want to fight, I want to, get into a professional match. I guess if you can guesstimate, I know there's a lot of variables in it, but if you can give us like an idea of how long it takes for somebody to prepare for a fight, what would that look like?
Yeah. So like, if you're just getting in the game and you want to turn pro, like obviously you have your pro debut. So you would probably get like 3 fights the first year just to, build your record in that sense. And then, depending if you have a good promoter or someone pushing you or money behind you, you can fight every 2 months. You can fight every 3 months. But if you're kind of like taking from the bottom up, which I did, like it was one fight, maybe 5 months, another fight, just building in that way. So just, again, the variables differ, but it's definitely like probably like 3 months in between a fight. You can have.
I was doing my research, and correct me if I'm wrong, before you turned pro, during your amateur career, you fought damn near 200 fights, right? Like it was like 165 or something like that.
Yeah. But I had like 165 amateur fights. I would just fight because I would want to get a fight. And if the girl was too big, I was like, I'll fight her, like just to get a fight. And so that just built my experience for the pro world. And, that experience really transferred over. So I'm pretty thankful to have all those fights and the experience.
Oh, that's dope.
That's crazy. That's a lot of fighting too.
Right.
Like were the fights kind of spread out across like years, or where you find yourself fighting every month or every other week?
Yeah, it could be like there for a minute. It could be like every month. If there was like a Golden Gloves tournament, you fight 3 times out that weekend. So, that's how some of that went.
It's just grinding. Okay. So I want to go back to the beginning. Obviously, I know, Brian, you mentioned earlier, you started boxing at 8, but you started wrestling at age 5. So where did that whole just, I guess, aggression, so to speak, come from? The stereotypical thought is that, as a young lady, they're going to play with toys, they're going to do all this and that. You was like, hell no, I'm ready to work. So where did that
somebody?
Yeah, right. I would say, first off, my family is like all athletics. They have an athletic background as is. And so like my parents just seemed like this built, like natural built, athletic built out the womb, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so they're like, we got to put her in sports. You just know when you know, right?
Yeah.
And my parents, they put me in wrestling, and I'm wrestling boys. So like the dads is getting mad, I'm beating the boys. And I like I'm like, I'm one of y'all. Like, I'm not even thinking, I'm not putting no gender on. I'm just one of y'all. And, that just built from there. And then, after wrestling, I actually wrestled in middle school. I was the first girl to wrestle in middle school. And then, after that, my dad's like, you want to try out boxing? I had a small boxing gym in my hometown, and walked in there when I was 8 years old, and continue working hard, because that's all I knew is just to work, do what the guys do, right? Guy push-ups, all that extra stuff. And I just worked, and, I competed against the men, nothing new, nothing different, because I was wrestling guys. So again, it was just a woman who was, eager to work, to show my work ethic. And that's just what I continue doing. And boxing just stuck. I really didn't think boxing was going to be that sport for me, because I ran track as well as I got older, when I went to high school and stuff. And I also did like the little tournaments and stuff they have for track, but boxing just was one of them sports. It just stuck. So.
Got you.
Man.
Now, was boxing something that, like, did it kind of come easy for you, or was it like when you first started, was it like really tough with you, like learning and figuring it out?
I think it came easy. I think it just came from just the work ethic that I had, that I was willing to do what was told, and I did it right. Like, throw your jab like this. Okay, I got it right. And it was just one of those things I learned as I go. Really hands-on type of person. So if you showed me, I was getting it right then and there.
Got you.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So I guess kind of talk to us a little bit about the journey, right? So obviously, you ended up taking a loss early in your career. You had a knee injury, some things that obviously took you away from the thing that you love the most, right? I guess for us, talk to us a little bit about how tough it was for you going through some of those, hurdles, facing that adversity, and seeing, where you are now being a champion. Looking back, what were some of those specific moments that you could pull from that helped you, get to this point?
Yeah. So, I told myself I'm really in tune with myself. I write in my journal, and, I knew a long time ago that I told myself I didn't want to live an average life. I said, I want to be able to have that financial freedom. I want to be able to help people that help me. And so I kept it in my mind, but I knew that choosing this journey, being an athlete, it requires so much work, and everything requires work, but this requires a lot of hard work and discipline, sacrifice. And I've had that since a young girl. And I knew, like, them high school parties weren't for me, hanging around the wrong people weren't for me. Like, I was in the gym, like, every day, just grinding, getting to the top. So as I grew, and as I knew the importance of what it is to be an elite athlete, not just an athlete, but an elite athlete. To get to where I want to go, I'm gonna have to work. And so, I had my little amateur career. I turned pro. I went in the pro game. Like, I want to be undefeated. I want to be like Floyd Mayweather, like undefeated, like only women boxers that can do that. Right. That was my mentality. And so, I continued growing, I had my pro debut. And as I continued with my pro career, I had a step up fight. And this was, I won a little title, WBC, and a continental title before I took this big step up fight. This girl was 9-1. I want to say I was 5-0. I'm like, yeah, I want to fight. Like, this is the competition, because I like competition. That's what makes me better. Right. So I'm like, let's take this fight. And, I took the fight. It was a great fight. It was a split decision. I really thought it went my way, but, she ended up winning. So, after they rose her hand, I literally in that moment, I'm like, shit, I'm not giving up. Like, all right, well, got a loss. What's next? You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
But man, I took a big detour in my life. And prior to that, I was in a bad relationship, very toxic, and that transferred into my boxing career and my boxing life. And it really just messed everything up for me. But it was a life lesson. Like, these were lessons that God was really showing me, like, listen, like, I got a certain path for you. And now you got to learn the hard way. Now we got to take a detour to get you back where you was going, because that girl ended up moving on and fighting one of the top girls in the world right now, and became a former world champion. So I knew in that position, in that mindset, like, damn, that could have been me, but I had to learn a lesson in that given point, in that given time. So here I am, bringing myself right back up. I fell off. When you get a loss, people are like, yeah, who is she? Right. So being overlooked. Like, I was prospect of the year, blah, blah, blah. Like, all these good things happen. And then boom, I got my loss. I'm like, okay, but I know what I got to do. I got to just continue working hard, staying in the gym. I changed my circle, went to a new gym, got a new coach. I did, I had to make a lot of changes and understand that, like, you can't bring everybody with you, and not everybody who is for you is actually for you. You know what I'm saying? They really toxic, and you really got to weed that out, because you have all these people around you consistently. And that's what athletes got to understand. Everybody wants to be a part of the success, but the hard work is, they don't want no parts. They want to come when you get in the money and when the success comes. So, after that, I just kept building. I went through 5 trainers. I finally found the trainer that worked for me. He ended up passing from COVID. Still continued to keep pushing. I'm like, yeah, I never gave up. I'm like, giving up is not an option in my head, because I done put the work in since a youngin'. And so I'm like, well, we're going to get this in. And then after I got my fight, I probably waited like 2 years to get back in the ring after my loss. And just from that moment, then I just kept that momentum, just working. COVID happened, still fell off, had to get knee surgery. That was 2 years off the sport. Came back with another fight with a tough girl too. I'm like, you know what? Put me in with a tough girl. I'm like, and that was 1 year. I was trying to rush my recovery from my surgery. I'm like, yeah, I want to get back there in June. And really my 1 year was in October. And so again, God has a plan. So I kept being patient. Like, no, we had gotten 2 world title offers before my 1 year anniversary for my knee. And I'm like, yeah, let's just take it. But I'm just like, it's not. And my coach is like, it's not the right time yet. Like, you really just got to keep being patient. Went patient, been patient, boom, got the call to fight Terry Harper for the world champion. I'm like, bro, we are taking it. I said, this is it. This is my opportunity. I know I can beat her. Let's go. Like, already did the recovery from my knee. And just to sum it up, that's how it went.
That's beautiful. That's a hell of a story, man. It's one of those things where, you listen to your parents, you listen to your coaches. They always kind of tell you the stories of how hard you should work and how you should persevere. And, I coach high school football, so I'm always instilling that in my kids, and they always kind of brush it off, just kind of being teenagers. Right. But just to see you live it, right. To, kind of get off track, right? Usually people get off track and they're like, hey, it's no coming back. Like, I might as well continue to stay on this path, but you found a way to get back, and get to your ultimate goal. And that's it right there. I mean, I wish, I wish my kids could listen to this, because, no how many times it's so cliche. No matter how many times you fall, you get back up. Now you're the world champion.
And that's the difference. It's very cliche to say, it takes hard work. You got to work hard. No, you really have to work your ass off. And when you do fall, get right back up, because that's life. You're going to fall, but you have to have that strength and that mentality to say, you know what, that's going to teach me. I learned a lesson in everything that was a setback for me, that taught me something. You know what I'm saying? And that's life. These are life lessons, which makes me the athlete I am today. I'm going to have another, setback. I don't know what it is, but I'm prepared, because I know that, that builds strength in some type of way, some form. You know what I mean? So, it's a journey, but it's well worth it. I wouldn't have changed it, because, I am where I am today, and my performance of that fight of, winning a world title, was so phenomenal. It set everything apart from what people are normally seeing from women's boxing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just know that I'm different. I know that I got a God-given talent. And so it's up to me to use it to the best of my ability. You know what I mean? I'd be cheating if I didn't, you know what I mean? So
you about to make me tear up, Alycia, man. You over here, I ain't trying to get spiritual and all that, but like you said, yeah, she's dropping so many gems. It's literally the story of life. This is life. You're gonna have roadblocks. Even when you do bust your ass at something, you still gonna have roadblocks. So it's about how you gonna bounce back, and to hear your story, your path, and how you've been able to persevere. My heart is beating right now. I'm inspired to just get better at what I'm doing. So
get in the gym, just work. We seen some of the videos. I'm like, man, I need to go ahead and get the bench pressing, get on a treadmill. I need to do something.
Right.
Yeah, and I think what else is important, when everybody knows individually what talent they have. When you're it, and you got that star power, that God-given talent, you're gonna be champion. You're gonna be facing. I face doubt and success right at the finish line, or right at the start line. You see doubts right here, success is right here. It's right there, and it's which way you gonna go? And it's so easy to go to the doubt. I remember I was training. I had one training camp. And I knew once I went there, I'm like, this is going to test me right here. This is a big test. And I kid you not, I looked doubt in the face. I'm running we're doing 800s. And I'm looking doubt in the face, bro, fuck. I'm cousin, fuck you. I can do it. And I pushed through that. And after that camp, I had the awesome experience and performance. I'm I literally faced doubt and doubt. There's, what athletes don't understand, or what some people don't understand, is athletes have doubts. I've had many doubts,
all the time.
Got it. Maybe, I'm not good enough. But man, when you face that and you say, you know what? No, I believe in me, and you push past that, you break those mental blocks. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So I'm if I can do that, I know I can do that. So it's just ongoing, No,
that's 100%, man. It's been so many times where during my football career, it wasn't easy for me at first. I wasn't that good at first. I had to get good, and there was, I couldn't even count on my hands so many times. I'm thinking to myself, man, shit, this ain't for me. Should I move on? Should I do something else? And even in, like you said, there's been specific workouts where our strength coach is killing us. We're doing all types of crazy stuff, right? And I'm man, I'm not gonna make it through it. But then you do. And it's so it's if I can get my mind right, then I can execute. And it really shows you the power of the mind. You hear that a lot, but it's really it's a fact. If you can get your mind to tap into this different space, you can accomplish down there anything you want to accomplish. It's scary in a positive way. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Because that's just true. That's facts.
I love it.
All right. So I'm corny. So I got a little quote, right? They say if you think you can or you can't, you right regardless.
Amen. Amen.
So it's so many people who, like you said, even before the game starts, before the matches start, you already got in your mind, that you're gonna go out and you visualizing, what you're gonna do right. If you're thinking about messing up, then you're gonna mess up, right? So it's just kind of putting it out there, putting it in the universe, being confident. And that's kind of what I wanted to lead into. Talk to us about your confidence. I think that's one thing that stuck out to me when I started to, look at videos. I believe I seen your post match interview after you won the championship, and they were asking you questions, and you said something to along the lines of like, I just knew, like I knew, you know, and I had to prove people that I can do it. Like I just knew it was going to happen. And you sound very confident in a couple of videos I was watching. I think there was a few times that you said like, I just know I can do it. Like I just wear this confidence. I guess, where does that confidence come from? Does it come from being like an elite, or does it come from like working extremely hard, or is it a mixture of both? What do you think that pulls from?
It's a lot of things. One, it's being a woman. Two, is being a color of woman. You know, being in a 2 male dominated sports, being in a sport where women are overlooked and we got to work twice as hard, don't get the same pay, don't get the same opportunities. It comes from, you know, knowing the possibility of being that woman, that world champion, you know. And it comes from, you know, just grinding every day, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this got to pay off someday.
Ain't got no choice.
No choice.
Like, I don't know when, but that's the faith of the unknown, of saying like, you know what, if I put the work in, something's gonna come out of it. And so I just kept that attitude, I kept that faith, regardless. And, you know, just being in the dumps, being in the darkness, having those dark days, knowing that, you know, the light's gonna shine one day, you know, joy comes in the morning, like, listen, okay, it's a new day, what we doing today, type thing. So I think just that confidence was just building as I grew older and older. And I just knew you have to believe in you. Believing in you is having confidence in you, right? Yeah. It goes hand in hand. And it's kind of scary to when you say like, oh, I believe in me, but do you really believe in you? Until you have to be tested to actually do it. Then you're like, okay, now I know where this is the type of belief I really got to have. Because you can say it, but to do it as well is a different thing. And I say right now for that fight, I just went in there saying I'm confident. I just went in there. I just carry that energy. Even though it might have been a small little thing like, oh, well, we'll just have to see, because that's just boxing. But I'm like, you know what? Confident. I've been saying and the new every day in the mirror, writing it down. And boom, when it happened, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. Like, you can carry that confidence, but doing it and like just seeing it just follow up and follow through, it's like, okay, that's where it comes from. And so it just builds, and it's just it's a humble confidence, you know. It's never to boast about it. It comes from a humble standpoint from where I came from.
That's real.
Love it. No, I love that for sure. So I want to switch gears a little bit here, and give you a chance to just highlight your team. So I mean, like I told you before we hopped on the call, I had a chance to talk to I'm gonna call her Auntie Latrell. She's my auntie now. Talk to her. I know, you know, Tony Harrison, LJ, you know, I know they are your lead trainers, if I'm not mistaken. Just talk about your team. It seems like from the outside looking in, you guys have a true like family like relationship with the whole entire team. What's it like just training at the Superbad Academy and just being a part of that whole family?
Yeah, so just walking into the gym, you feel the atmosphere of just family off rip. And so when I went there, you know, they made me feel like family. The atmosphere was great. The energy was great. So I'm like, man, this is where I need to be. Like, I've been missing this part of it, you know, because you got to have great relationships when you're in boxing with your trainer, you know. And so going to, you know, Superbad, I'm like, damn, like this is where I need to be. Like, everybody was nice. You know, they welcomed me. And, you know, I have a solid team, like really solid people, you know, and when they're like family, you know, you can trust them. They want what you want, you know, just genuine from the heart. You don't come across those type of people a lot. And when you do, you know, it's definitely a blessing. And I had been praying, honestly, for like a long time to have a team, right? You know, you see these big teams, these big entourages, but guys, like, I got a small team for you, but they're important people. You know what I mean? It's not that big, it's just small. And so that's what Superbad is. It's a family, and just a solid team, you know, athletes as well. You know, LJ, he played basketball overseas. Tony being a former world champion, you know, they're both coaches in the game of boxing. So, you know, their dad even being a professional boxer. So everything just flowed like perfectly. And, you know, LJ was able to work with Tony before he worked with me. So we knew that the world championship was coming. So, you know, he was prepared in that sense. Tony was prepared. So it's just great. It's all around. I got a great team. And my auntie, like, she's the only auntie I call auntie. And she does everything, man. She's like the glue for all of us. And so she makes everything happen behind the scenes, on the scenes. So, you know, I'm very thankful to have her as well.
I love it, man. Nah, that's what it's all about. Your team got to be solid because that takes away stress from you and it makes life a lot easier for you as well. I became a fan of Tony like a while back. It was actually I know when he comes out to the ring, he has his buffs on and he's doing this. My wife's from Detroit originally. She moved, so I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. My wife's originally from Detroit, moved to Indianapolis. That's how we met. But anyway, she's from Detroit, so. Once I saw Tony came out to the ring, he had his buffs on, and he was hitting the I don't know what this is even called, but like I know it's Detroit. So I was like, okay, I kind of rock with Tony, man. So yeah, shout out to Tony Harrison as well, man.
Yeah. Good old Detroit.
Yeah.
And I feel like too, like in boxing, like just from me watching it, like you have to have a great team, like a small team, right? Like people who are ringside coaching you through, you know, some of the hardest moments as a fighter, and you're literally trusting them because they see things that you don't, right? Talk to us about like building that trust. Like obviously it's family oriented, right? And one thing you mentioned that I caught on to was like, you was like, hey, you know, I really don't watch film. My team watches the film and then they coach me up and tell me what to do from there. So I'm thinking from there, that has to be a lot of trust, right? It's kind of like, you know, you almost going in there, you know, blinded, and you're just like, you know, hey, if the trainer's like, hey, you know, she's coming with a strong, you know, right hook, so you'll have to counter that and be ready, right? So you have to listen and trust them. I guess, was that a something that you had to break into, or were you just able to just easily just jump into it and listen and catch on and build that trust connection, you know, that quick in the ring?
Yeah, no, I've always been a great listener. I've always been a student of the game. So I'm just like, you know, they want what's best for me. And so I'm gonna listen. Again, this is my fifth coach, my last coach that I had stayed with. So I'm like, you know, it's necessary. You know, I know that this is, I was, you know, my missing puzzle piece, as I say, but you know, they have my best interest. So it's just like, okay, I just do what I gotta do, and that's train and work, and they'll do the rest, you know.
Nice.
Love it.
Now, I had one more question about boxing. This is just kind of one of my older questions that I always just kind of heckle my friends about. So talk to us a little bit about, so obviously like in football, like when I play football, I play defensive back. So like, obviously it's kind of like the last line of defense, you know, people are usually quicker, good eyes, you know, interceptions, you know, kind of that good stuff. So for boxers, right, I guess, tell me the top attribute someone needs in order to be successful. Is it good hands? Is it good feet? Is it good eyes? Is it, you know, good coach? I guess if we were to get rid of everything, like all those attributes, and you only have one attribute that you could stick with in the ring, what would that be?
That's a tough question right there.
I would say footwork.
Ooh.
Because footwork is so key. It helps you stay on balance. It helps you get out of the way of punches. Listen, you can move around the whole ring and not get hit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, so I would have to go with footwork.
Yeah, I like that.
Makes sense. If you ain't getting hit, then hey, you at least got a chance.
Bad feet don't eat. Y'all hear that out there? Bad feet do not eat. All right, you heard it here first.
Yes, sir.
Man, real.
So I do want to, transfer just outside the ring. So I saw that. I mean, you're into fashion. You're doing modeling. I believe you signed recently with Ford Models. Talk about just your passion outside of the ring for fashion and modeling. Is this something that you see yourself really diving deep into, maybe post career, or continuing to do it now while you're fighting as well, or what?
Yeah, you know, I think it's great to have a balance of both. For one thing, I'm in the entertainment business. You know, myself, if I can be my best promoter, I'm going to do it. And so being a model outside the ring just helps transfer, you know, in the ring. You know, I say I'm a beauty and a beast, and when you can do both, you know, it just adds more on to what I'm doing, you know. And so again, I like to dress up. I like to enjoy myself when I'm not working out or being in the ring fighting. So, you know, that's like my fun time.
Yeah, I actually noticed that doing my homework. I'm like, I've seen like 4 different versions of Alycia. Like she can do whatever you need from her, she can make it happen. You know what I mean?
Literally,
So
5 different me. So I'm like, I'm all for doing new things too. Like, I might not be your like what they would say average model, whatever, but I can do it. I feel like if I put my mind to anything, I can be good at it. So if they told me to, be an MMA fighter, shit, I can do it. Like that's
that's that confidence.
Well,
I'm gonna say that I ain't trying to mess no because I think you're signed to Adidas, right? I think you got some type of deal with Adidas. So I don't know if it's exclusive, non-exclusive. I don't know, but your boy do own his own activewear clothing brand called Live for the Day clothing brand. I don't know if there's a world where you're allowed to wear other stuff, but if it is, I would definitely hook you up with a package. We can talk about that a little later, but I have to do that seamless plug for my clothing brand.
Yeah, problem. We'll make something work, something shake with that.
I love it. Well, let's go to the quick hitters here, Bolo, man. We love to end the interviews on more like quick hitters, a little bit fun questions here. So we got a few questions here. I'll get it started. Who are your top 5 women's boxers of all time?
So I would say my favorite boxer to watch, because that's a tough question, right? Because women's boxers are off too much. But I would say, my favorite fighter would be Ann Wolfe. Are you guys familiar with her?
I've actually heard of Ann Wolfe.
I went back. You made a comment, and we'll get to it. You made a comment on one of your interviews about how you would do Michaela Mayer, and I was like, Ann Wolfe. So I did my homework. That knockout was I'm gonna let you jump in, but that knockout was nasty.
Nasty, right? And honestly, like I've never met Ann Wolfe before. And again, when I got into the game of boxing, like I didn't even think about other women boxers. Like you only heard of Layla Ali. Like that's it.
Right.
Like, oh, Layla Ali, cool. But I was never starstruck, and I was never like, I never used other women like in the game to be my motivation. I'm just like, oh, I'm an athlete. I want to be like Mike Tyson. That was my mindset, right?
Gotcha.
So like Ann Wolfe is like one of my favorites. She kind of reminds me of myself, just like her build and her, she has a great story, and a great boxing career. Christy Martin, like all these women, like Christy Martin, Ann Wolfe, like, they brought the sport alive. You can't forget about Layla Ali, but I guess I'll be honest, like I don't really watch a whole lot of women boxers in the sense of like, I rather watch men boxing because I fight like a guy.
Okay, well, we can change the question then. So who's your top 5 men to watch?
Yeah, so I would say Mike Tyson,
of course,
for one. I like Canelo. I like Floyd Mayweather. I like the whole Kronk era of fighters. Just pinpoint one. You got Tommy Hearns and stuff.
Yeah.
And Holyfield.
Ooh.
Nice.
I like your mindset, Alycia.
I say them some heavy hitters too.
Alycia she like the physical people. She like the people who knocking boys out. It's gonna be a brawl.
Okay.
And everything. So let me ask you this: what's your favorite sport outside of boxing? Do you watch other sports? Are you interested in any other sport, or is it just fighting?
I like to watch. I'm like kind of getting the likes of basketball, but track is like my thing. So when like the Olympics comes around, like I like watch track because I was gonna run track before I box. So
no football. You don't watch? Ain't your cousin Micah Hyde, if I'm not mistaken?
He is. I'm not like I'll watch it. I'm not like, oh, football's on tonight. Let's go.
You probably would have been good, low key though. I mean, you like being physical. You wrestle. You box. Obviously, if there was like a show, you probably would have been a good ass free safety. I think out there just hitting boys.
Downhill,
right?
Did a power puff football in like high school one time. I said, listen, I don't know no positions. Just give me the ball and I'm gonna run.
I'm running through them.
That's it. Okay. And then all right, so this last one here, this is a fun one here. If me and you got in a ring, Alycia, for 3 rounds, I have no experience. Me and you got in a ring, we spar for 3 rounds. I'm 6 foot, about 260 solid. How would this go down? Me and you in the ring, I have no experience. How is this going down? Talk to me.
I would drop you with a body shot.
Ooh.
Body shot.
Hit you where it hurt for real. You gonna you gonna crumble.
sure.
Yeah, nah, I can feel it. As soon as she said body, my stomach started, my ribs started hurt. You know, I'm a bigger dude, so them body shots, they're a little different.
Gonna crunch your ass for real, for real.
First round, or do you spare me and let me make it to the second round?
I give it to the second.
Okay, that's my girl right there. That's the homie. That's the homie. Okay, like this is super last thing here. We end every show with a fun game. So this game is just called Finish My Statement. So I'm gonna just say a line and then you just finish it. So the first one, my favorite meal after a fight is
Salmon.
Ooh, okay. Like fried salmon patties or like the grilled?
Grilled. It's
Okay.
grilled salmon.
Ooh, vegetables and rice. Okay.
Like
The next one, and I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed. I'm gonna assume you've been here before. My go-to order at Coney Island is
Wings and fries.
yes. Okay.
Get some wings and them fries.
When I go, I get that. So I ain't been to Detroit in a minute, but I used to go all the time. I would go get that chicken pita. Get that chicken pita next time, Alycia. I'm telling you, it's
Listen, you know, would have been a great one. What food do you get at the strip club? And I would have said lamb chops. Because
lamb chops at the strip club.
Oh my gosh, they're amazing. I promise you.
I don't think I had some chicken wings off the chain though, but hey, shout out to the strip clubs because the food be off the chain. I'm telling you.
Be off the chain. Listen, I never ate lamb till I came to Detroit. I'm like, let me give these lamb chops a try. I've been in love since. So
man,
that's crazy.
When I'm gonna pull up to Detroit, we gotta get some lamb chops now.
You gotta get some lamb chops.
When you're in town, I'll make sure y'all set up for that.
We got
for sure. It's a bet. So okay, this next one. I ain't trying to start no beef. I'm just asking a question. Or finish my statement. Michaela Mayer is
getting knocked out next year.
Ooh. Let her know.
I just heard it right here on the porch.
Y'all heard it.
On the porch. I love it. She got me over here hype, low.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. I might have to start boxing, at least training shit. I might not fight
nobody,
but just start doing the training.
Couple air jabs, you know.
Exactly.
Okay. Last one. In 2022, Alycia Baumgardner will
be undisputed world champion.
Boom.
There it is.
Out there in the universe, ladies and gentlemen. She said it, so now it will happen.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, we want to thank you so much, man. You gave us, amazing interview. It's been a blessing to even have you on here. When we initially reached out, it was kind of just, a shot in the wind. I didn't know we was gonna get her back. Nothing.
I go through my emails. I'm like, scrolling. I'm like, oh, what's this? Kind of looks interesting. Sent to my auntie. I'm like, auntie, take care of it. And then she's like, hey, do it. I'm like, okay, bet we can do it. But I rarely I check, but I don't check. So coming across y'all, I'm like, oh, podcast, cool, let's do it. So
see, that's how I know. Listen, I gotta get deep one more
time.
Got
a real one.
But we got a real one, and this was meant to be because she don't even really check her emails like that. The fact that she just happened to see our email and then Auntie Latrell hit your boy up immediately. This was supposed to happen. So, and I know we're gonna do some more work down the road. I'm still talking to your auntie about some in-person stuff we got going on. But It's been a pleasure to be able to meet you, and we wish you nothing but the best. Keep grinding, keep inspiring.
No, I had one more thing, D-Nell.
My fault.
One more thing, Alycia. I guess obviously, I just want to obviously say thank you. You're a Black woman, in a professional sport, doing a lot of different things, going to a lot of different angles, and you have that confidence that's pouring out. I guess what's that message for that Black girl that's out here, trying to get to it, maybe hitting some trials and tribulations right now, looking for, that word of wisdom to get to potentially where you are, and start to see that light.
Yeah, my advice would be, keep God first, continue praying, stay humble and work hard, and know that anything that you put into will come out for the greater good. Mm-hmm. And, just keep working hard, don't give up either. Like giving up should never be an option because life is full of opportunities, and dreams. Like I would go drive and go see these big houses. I'm like, damn, I want one of those one day. And I'm like, yo, you can have one of those. Just believe that you can have it.
Yeah.
Work for it. So it's just putting in your mind, visualizing it, writing it down, praying about it, speaking out loud. Like all those things are important. And that's what I want other people to know. And another thing is like just people in general and athletes, like the mental part is so important. I wish I had more of that when I was younger and I didn't. And I had to like gravitate towards that when I got older, like speaking to myself, talking to myself, you know, self-love and self-motivation. Like you got to do that for you. You can't get that from nobody else. No one's going to love you. You know what I mean? So you gotta continue that. It's a daily assignment. You know what I'm saying?
Daily assignment. That's a gem. Self-love, self-care is a daily assignment. It's a daily thing.
Drop
it
right there. I love it. So y'all already know, man, this is the Porch, man. So y'all can follow us wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at the Porch Podcast _. I'm your boy D Nail. Got my boy Bolo.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Thank you.